You are standing at the grocery store checkout, staring at the total on the display screen. It is a completely ordinary week. You have not bought anything extravagant, just the basics to keep your household running. Yet, the number staring back at you feels like a mistake. You are likely making more money today than you were 5 years ago. You work harder. You are more responsible. But somehow, at the end of every month, your bank account tells a completely different story. It feels like your money is simply evaporating. This is the modern cost of living pressure. It is silent, it is relentless, and it is exhausting. Modern financial culture tells us that the only way to survive this is to earn more, to hustle harder, or to aggressively cut out every single thing that brings you joy. But Japanese financial minimalism offers a completely different lens. It is not about deprivation. It is about extreme clarity. In this video, we are going to explore 8 Japanese minimalist money habits that cost nothing to start, but can completely change how you survive the rising cost of living. These are not restrictive budgets. These are quiet systems that protect your wealth, reduce your financial anxiety, and help you find the baseline of enough when the world around you is constantly asking for more. If you have been feeling like you are failing at money lately, the first thing you need to know is this: it is not your fault. The economic ground has shifted beneath our feet. The cost of living has skyrocketed, but our financial systems have remained exactly the same. We are trying to navigate a high-inflation reality using the spending habits of a low-inflation past, and when that does not work, we naturally blame ourselves. We assume we are just not disciplined enough. But discipline is a finite resource. When you rely only on willpower to survive financial pressure, you eventually burn out. This is where Japanese financial minimalism offers a quiet alternative. True Japanese minimalism is not about empty rooms or giving up everything you enjoy just to survive. It is about intentionality and clarity. At the heart of this minimalist approach to money is a Japanese concept called danshari. Danshari is made of 3 actions. Dan meaning to refuse, sha meaning to dispose, and ri meaning to separate. When applied to your finances during an economic squeeze, danshari becomes a survival toolkit. We must learn to refuse the invisible costs that sneak into our daily lives. We must dispose of the financial leaks that no longer serve us. And most importantly, we must separate our true fundamental needs from the artificial pressures created by modern society. By filtering out the noise, you create a buffer. You stop letting the economy dictate your peace of mind, and you begin telling your money exactly where to go. Our first step begins with creating a mindful ledger inspired by the Japanese art of Kakebo. Today, money moves silently. We tap cards, apps renew, and grocery prices creep up invisibly. The modern money problem is that spending happens entirely without friction. The visible cost of this is a shockingly high credit card bill at the end of the month, but the real hidden cost is a creeping sense of financial anxiety and a total loss of control. This triggers a dangerous psychological trap: avoidance. When we are terrified of the rising cost of living, we stop checking our bank balances, secretly hoping the math will somehow fix itself. Kakebo forces the exact opposite through mindful physical tracking. The system fix here is simple. For the next 30 days, do not try to track every single penny. That is exhausting. Instead, choose only the 3 categories causing you the most stress right now, like groceries, utilities, or fuel. Track them manually with a pen and paper. Slow your money down long enough to actually see it. Quiet wealth begins when you stop hiding from your numbers. Awareness does not make you poorer. It is the strongest antidote to financial anxiety. But tracking your money is only the beginning. The second habit requires us to cut the convenience tax, rooted in the Japanese philosophy of matanai. Matanai expresses a deep respect for resources and a strong rejection of waste. Cost of living pressure is deeply tiring. To cope, we fall into the modern trap of buying convenience, relying on food delivery apps, express shipping, and paying for services we could easily do ourselves. The visible cost is the endless service fees and surcharges. But the hidden cost is much worse. We begin to normalize financial waste as a reward. The psychological trap is telling yourself that because you work so hard just to survive, you deserve to make your life a little easier. To fix this system, implement a strict 48 hour delay rule for any non-essential convenience purchase. When the urge to pay for a shortcut hits, pause. You will find that the desire for convenience often passes once the immediate emotional exhaustion fades. A true reward is not a short-term convenience that quietly drains your wallet. The ultimate reward is long-term peace of mind. Protecting that peace requires knowing where your finish line is. This brings us to the third habit. Establishing the baseline of enough, anchored in the Japanese philosophy of taru wo shiru, or knowing what is sufficient. The modern money problem is that we often confuse a rising cost of living with lifestyle inflation. The visible cost is constantly upgrading your car, your phone, or your living space, even when prices are heavily inflated. But the hidden cost is that you are running on a financial treadmill. As your income grows, your expenses expand to swallow it perfectly, leaving you feeling just as broke as you were 5 years ago. The psychological trap here is deep. Society has wired us to believe that success requires constant expansion. If you are not upgrading, you feel like you are falling behind. To break this, you must write down your exact baseline. What is the specific number you need to live a comfortable, healthy, but unupgraded life? Write it down and commit to not crossing that baseline for at least 1 full year. Regardless of any bonuses or raises, enough is not a failure or a compromise. Enough is a fortress that protects you from the exhausting expectations of everyone else. Once you define what is enough, you must protect what is left over. This leads us to the fourth habit, the art of saving first, known in Japan as chokin. The modern approach to money is to pay your bills, survive the month, and save whatever happens to be left. But in an era of inflation, there is never anything left. The visible cost is a savings balance that stays stubbornly at zero. The real hidden cost is absolute vulnerability. One unexpected expense will force you straight into high-interest consumer debt. The psychological trap is the lie we tell ourselves we will start saving when the economy stabilizes or when we finally get a raise. The system fix is ruthless automation. You must set up an automatic transfer of a micro percentage, even just 2% of your income, to a separate account the exact morning you get paid, before any bills are cleared. You have to pay your future self before you pay the supermarket. Paying yourself first, however, only works if you stop bleeding money on the things you already own. The fifth habit focuses on realizing the value of longevity, inspired by kintsugi. Kintsugi is the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with gold, treating the repair as a beautiful part of the object's history rather than a flaw to hide. In modern consumer culture, we do the exact opposite. We live in a throwaway society that becomes dangerously expensive during times of inflation. The visible cost is the endless cycle of buying cheap items, watching them break, and replacing them constantly. The hidden cost is much worse. This continuous depreciation cycle silently drains the capital you should be using to build long-term wealth. The psychological trap is convenience. We tell ourselves it is simply cheaper and faster to order a replacement online than to fix what we have. The system fix is to shift from a replacing mindset to a maintaining mindset, dedicate a small portion of your budget as a maintenance fund, and commit to repairing high-quality items before buying new ones. Quiet wealth means realizing that cherishing what you already possess makes you richer than constantly chasing what you do not have. When our possessions break, we can fix them. But what happens when we are the ones who feel broken by the daily grind? This introduces the sixth habit, zero-cost restoration, rooted in the concept of Shinrin-yoku or nature therapy. The modern money problem is that we try to cure our exhaustion by spending. We book expensive weekend getaways and run up high restaurant tabs just to recover from a stressful work week. The visible cost is a massive spike in your weekend spending, but the real cost is a tragic cycle. You are spending your hard-earned money to escape the very life you are working so hard to fund. The psychological trap is confusing the act of spending money with the act of resting. Society tells us that if a weekend does not cost money, it was not well spent. To fix this, you must decouple rest from spending. Build a personal menu of high-quality, zero-cost restoration activities. Whether that is a long walk in a local park, reading a book you already own, or having a quiet, tech-free morning. The deepest, most profound rest never requires a billing statement. Disconnecting from the need to spend for rest naturally brings us to the seventh habit. The aesthetic detox, rooted in the philosophy of wabi-sabi. Wabi-sabi is the acceptance and appreciation of the imperfect, the incomplete, and the deeply authentic. The modern money problem is that we are constantly bombarded by a curated, perfect aesthetic on social media. Even as the cost of living crushes us, there is immense pressure to maintain a flawless lifestyle facade. The visible cost is continuously buying trendy clothing or home decor just to keep up. But the hidden, much more dangerous cost is taking on consumer debt just to look like you are immune to inflation. The psychological trap is believing that projecting a perfect image is the same thing as being financially secure. The system fix is a 30-day visual detox. Unfollow the influencers and brands that trigger your urge to upgrade. Mute the noise. You will quickly realize that quiet wealth does not need an audience to prove it exists. Once you eliminate the external pressure, you can focus on the internal mechanics. The eighth and final piece of this system is micro-optimizations, driven by the famous concept of Kaizen. Kaizen means continuous, incremental improvement. When facing massive cost of living pressure, the modern problem is feeling completely overwhelmed by macroeconomic forces you cannot control, like interest rates and inflation. The visible cost of this overwhelm is absolute financial paralysis. The hidden cost is abandoning your long-term goals altogether because the present feels too difficult. The psychological trap is the all-or-nothing mindset. You believe that if you cannot save $500 a month right now, saving $10 is pointless. The system fix is to stop trying to fix everything at once. Apply Kaizen by optimizing just 1% each month. Cancel one small subscription today. Make one phone call to negotiate your internet bill next week. Financial survival does not come from one giant heroic victory. It is built on hundreds of small, quiet decisions that nobody else sees. Before we move to the final step, we need to pause for a moment and be completely honest. The cost of living crisis is not in your head. It is systemic, it is real, and it is brutally difficult to navigate. None of the Japanese minimalist habits we just discussed are going to magically fix global inflation. They will not lower interest rates, and they will not solve the macroeconomic forces squeezing your wallet. But that is not what they are designed to do. These habits are designed to fix your economy. When the outside world feels chaotic and entirely out of your control, you have to build a wall around your own financial life. These habits do not change the economy, but they give you back your agency. They return the control to you, allowing you to weather the storm without losing your peace of mind. Now that we have explored these 8 habits, it is time to build your action blueprint. Understanding these concepts is not enough. You must build the physical system. Here is exactly what you need to do today. It will take less than 20 minutes. First, print out your bank or credit card statement from the last 30 days. You need to see it on physical paper to channel the mindfulness of Kikibo. Second, grab a highlighter. Go line by line and mark only 2 things: your absolute non-negotiable essentials and your convenience leaks, the impulsive, friction-free spending meant to soothe your exhaustion. Third, choose just one single leak to close this month. Do not try to fix everything at once. Remember the principle of Kaizen, small, continuous improvement. Embrace Matanai and refuse that one specific source of financial waste. Finally, take the exact dollar amount of that one canceled leak and set up an automatic transfer. Apply the rule of Shokin to move that money into your emergency fund or debt payoff account The very morning you get paid, you are not just cutting an expense. You are systematically redirecting your money toward your own peace of mind. The next time you stand at that grocery store checkout, the numbers on the display screen might still be high. Inflation is a reality we all have to face, but the way you feel looking at those numbers can change entirely. These Japanese money habits are not magic tricks that will suddenly multiply your bank balance. They are simply a lens, a way to filter out the noise of modern spending and protect the resources you work so hard to earn. Surviving the cost of living pressure is not about restricting your life until there is nothing left to enjoy. It is about finding your baseline of enough and building your quiet wealth from that exact point. If this video helped you see your money differently, subscribe for more quiet wealth and Japanese money habit videos. Disclaimer: this video is for educational purposes only and is not personal financial advice. Financial rules, taxes, pensions, and investment products vary by country. Always consider your own situation and speak with a qualified professional when needed.